Racing Point has been renamed to become Aston Martin for 2021, and this change comes alongside a huge amount of investment in the team's infrastructure and personnel, with a new factory on the way and up to £200 million worth of investment over the next 5 years. So does this, coupled with the new budget cap introduced for 2021, mean that Aston Martin is poised to achieve even more success in the coming seasons? Let's have a look. My name's Andy and this is Behind the Drive. So to evaluate the likelihood of Aston Martin reaching the top of Formula 1 over the next few seasons, I'm going to look at 3 key points. For starters, I'll look at where the team is currently going into the 2021 season. Then I'll look at their new driver lineup for this season, and then finally I'll look at how much the new rules of the budget cap alongside the other sporting regulation changes could support the Silverstone-based team when compared to the others. Where the team is now, the facilities. It's a big year for Aston Martin, given they've returned to the sport as a team for the first time since 1960, and they're taking on a team in Racing Point that achieved their best Constructors' Championship finish since 2017, ending up in 4th. The team itself, through all of its previous names, also achieved their first race win in 2020 since the 2003 Brazilian Grand Prix, where Giancarlo Fisichella won for the Jordan team. A key change going on in the background for Aston Martin this season is that they're building a new factory. After Lawrence Stroll bought the team back in 2019, it was one of the first projects that he implemented. And it has the potential to make a big difference given the team's current factory was built in the late 80s in advance of Jordan joining the sport and is currently not fit for purpose. It was designed for a team of around 150 staff at the time, and given the changes in Formula 1 over the last 30 years and the growth of the team, they now have almost 400 staff, which means they're struggling for space and operating out of different locations, which obviously adds additional challenges when it comes to different departments working together. The new factory allows the team to follow their plan to increase their staff to around 600 under the new Aston Martin F1 brand, whilst ensuring they can attract some of the best talent in Formula 1. So the new talent and facilities could be a key factor in the car's development in the future. However, as a result of the pandemic, the team have already been forced into postponing the move into the new factory until August 2022, a year on from the intended move-in target of August this year. So although the new facilities could be a while away, they are in progress and likely to make a big difference for the team in the long run. So it certainly looks like a good time for Aston Martin to join the sport as a team, given the setup is in a strong position and has the potential, with the new facilities, to grow and attract new talent to the team, much like they have done with their drivers in advance of this season. But just before I get into the new driver lineup at Aston Martin, I wanted to take a moment to ask you to consider subscribing to Behind the Drive. I've got loads more F1 related content to come in 2021 and beyond. Plus, it massively supports the channel. Thanks. The team's new driver lineup. For 2021, the team have a new driver lineup as they've replaced Sergio Perez with 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. This move demonstrates how much the team have invested. They've gone from a driver who had been with the team for 7 years and had the significant backing of Carlos Slim to instead pick a driver who's commanded huge salaries in the past with Red Bull and Ferrari, but according to media speculation, has taken a significant pay cut to join the team for around $15 million. But either way, it's going from a driver who's offered significant investment for the team to a driver that's costing the team a lot of money. So this new driver lineup is a big step as they bring a world champion to the team and a driver that's won 53 Grand Prix during his career so far. We also need to consider the circumstances surrounding Vettel's move. He's been dropped by Ferrari after spending 6 years with the Italian team, and his final 2 seasons were difficult for the German driver as he was outperformed by his new teammate Charles Leclerc. Amongst all of this, there was speculation that the 33-year-old would retire, but his decision to move to Aston Martin, taking the pay cut and committing to the team, shows his confidence in the setup, and in the fact that he can work with them to get them back to the front. And for Vettel, it certainly feels like a move to Aston Martin will be a turning point in his career, and I think that most people are hoping that he finds a way to perform, as he has done in the past, going into the 2021 season. And in terms of the Aston Martin team, I expect that the experience of Sebastian Vettel will be massively valuable for the team in the long run. And then we need to think about the team's second driver, Lance Stroll, who of course takes this seat given his father, Lawrence Stroll, owns the team. Now this understandably causes frustration within the F1 community, as we want to see the best 20 drivers on the Formula 1 grid. However, there is no doubt that Stroll's improving year on year, and certainly the first half of last year he was one of the standout drivers on the grid. He achieved 2 podium finishes in 2020, as well as a pole position in Turkey. And if he continues this form going into the 2021 season, then he'll be doing exactly what's expected of him, and doing well for the Aston Martin team. So, in terms of the driver lineup, they've gained World Championship winning experience, and assuming Stroll continues on his development path, in the long run they could have 2 drivers that will do a good job for the team when given the chance. It's obviously not exactly the best pairing on the grid, but it certainly isn't the worst. And in my opinion, if the team do get to a point where they're in a championship fight, I think they may have one driver out of the front and the other behind ready in a supporting role, as opposed to 2 drivers that are damaging each other's chances of championship glory. So more like a Hamilton-Bottas partnership than a Hamilton-Rosberg partnership, for example. So this environment, with the new drivers, coupled with the new facilities and potential to grow the team in the next few years, could make a big difference to the team's championship chances. But arguably the most important factor that will give a team a chance at winning a championship in the future is the fact that the team's spending is set to become more aligned with their competitors in the coming years, a point that I'll look at next. The new sporting regulations. There are 2 key new sporting regulation changes introduced for 2021 that will support the Aston Martin team's ambitions to win the championship. The first of these is the new budget cap, which is set at $145 million for 2021 and encompasses all spending that impacts car performance. Last year, the Racing Point team had a budget of around $140 million, and according to team principal Otmar Safnauer, this represents a significant increase on the team's budget from previous years before Lawrence Stroll came on board. Now, of course, this budget includes areas that won't enhance the performance of the car, so it can be expected that for 2021 at least, the team won't hit the budget cap, even with the investment of cash from Aston Martin. But the key point to note is that the team under the guise of Force India and Racing Point has had a reputation of exceeding expectations and delivering more points per dollar spent than any other team. So while many of the front-running teams in Formula 1 will find themselves having to spend significantly less money on car performance this season, the Aston Martin team may not have to worry about the cost cap at all. In fact, I'd probably go as far as to say that the team are probably the outfit that have benefited the most from this new rule being brought in. The other new sporting regulation that's changed for 2021 is the new sliding scale aero testing rules, which are based on the team's previous championship performance. This is the first time that the sport's introduced a difference in rules across the teams, as the team that won the championship in the previous season will be allowed less wind tunnel time and CFD time than the team that have come last. The middle point of this scale, which is roughly where Aston Martin sit for 2021, has been set at 40 runs per week, which is down from the cap last season of 65 runs per week. Now this will not only save the team money, as they'll spend less time running the expensive equipment, it's also intended to level the playing field somewhat, as going into 2022, the championship winning team will have just 70% of the standard aero testing time, while the team at the bottom of the championship will have 115% of the standard time. This will represent the world champions being able to conduct 28 wind tunnel runs per week versus the backmarker team having 46. This is a sensible sounding structure. It doesn't sound like a drastic change, like adding ballast to the front-running cars, but it does give the teams lower down the pecking order a chance to outdevelop the front-running teams to close up the field. And for Aston Martin, it provides another opportunity to catch up and potentially become a title contender. So the 2 rule changes of the spend cap and the aero testing limits will both aid in the team's chances over the course of the next few seasons. But they also aid the other teams, particularly those with a lower budget compared to the frontrunners. And in terms of competition for Aston Martin's title hopes, you could well put an argument in for the majority of the teams on the grid right now to offer some form of competition. Going into 2022, we have the new aero regulations that will hopefully shake up the order, given there's a huge change in the concept of the cars. So while the new sporting regulations undoubtedly benefit Aston Martin, any team, when you consider the budget caps and aero testing time restrictions, has the potential to bridge the gap to the front-running teams. Meanwhile, it's also worth noting that there's the new engine freeze for 2022, and given the Aston Martin team is a Mercedes customer team, there's a good chance that they'll have the strongest power unit on the grid until the new engine regulations in 2025, which can only be a bonus for the team's chances. So are Aston Martin poised to gain more success over the next few years? Well, let's face it, there's currently a huge gap between the midfield and the front runners in Formula 1. But going into 2022, there are some significant technical regulation changes, and the team already have a reputation for getting the most bang for their buck in Formula 1. So when you consider the technical changes alongside the budget cap, plus bringing in Sebastian Vettel, I think the Aston Martin team have a better chance than most, in my opinion, at becoming title contenders. Don't get me wrong, it's still unlikely that they'll achieve it, but it certainly seems like the stars are aligning for the team right now. So that's my view on whether Aston Martin have the potential to become the next world champions in Formula 1. What's your thoughts? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video and watched this far, then please leave it a like and subscribe for more videos just like this one for the 2021 season and beyond.